Hello! Welcome to the cosmic ocean.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? In this fine, glorious day.
Is it?
Yes,
a fine, glorious day?
Yes. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
We are. Before we start, we are.
I am Nayeli.
Oh, and I'm Fatima.
And this is the Cosmic Ocean.
You can follow Nayeli at the Nate area. The Nate_area on all platforms. You can follow me on Hija del Maíz with an E on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, we are on
the unceded land of the Cheyenne and the Arapaho peoples. Amongst many, many other peoples, we are on stolen land. And we have to acknowledge the truth. There's so much that's going on.
Happy fall!
Oh yeah, happy fall.
Oh my god, happy fall.
Oh my god!
What?
I'm having a moment. Okay, so the fall equinox is supposed to be like a balance, right? Mm-hmm. And of what? What specifically? Like the cold?
It's
and the
balance states the sun and the daylight.
Yeah,
so it's like the perfect...
The sun and the daylight?
The daylight and the nightlight.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, duality.
Duality.
And then today I was just scrolling on TikTok and I saw somebody explaining what was their name? This god of wind, this Aztec god of wind, who is duality. Maybe that's why she was explaining it, because of the fall equinox.
No es Quetzalcoatl.
No, it's, yeah, and just perfect duality, and we were talking about that the last podcast, I think, a little bit. Duality. We always do. It's always like this.
Because it's always, I think, something that we're trying to always figure out. Mm-hmm. The balance. It's in everyday. It's in our everyday life. It
is life.
Yeah.
It is life, because life is a constant ebb and flow.
Yes, constant. Damn. So yeah. So happy fall. Happy equinox? Yeah. What they call it?
Fall equinox.
Yeah.
That was on September 22nd.
That was on September 22nd.
And also September 23rd, Mercury goes into retrograde in Virgo. So that means the mutable signs are going to be going through it a little bit.
That's me?
That's you, that's me.
Yeah. So I've been kind of coasting now. I've been good.
Even saying that makes me lightheaded.
It's going to be great.
It's been kicking my ass.
In what sense?
What do you mean, what sense?
Do you think? Like, why is it kicking your ass?
Because it's bringing up so much old wounds. So much old trauma. They're like, okay, get rid of it. Please get rid of it. And I'm like, I'm trying. I am trying.
We went to the hot springs this week.
Yeah.
And stuff came up and it was just funny because I was just like, oh, it's this, and this. And she just looked at me. You just looked at me like... I was like, oops.
Yeah. Oops. She said it was my bed. So I was like, Mom, my stomach hurts a lot. And then she's like, what were you saying? Blah, 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 blah. I think it was, you were telling me about my dad. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, it's your abandonment issues. And I was like, chill out, because I wasn't even feeling that. Mm. And then, I sat with it. And it was true. It
wasn't specifically the situation we were talking about, but it was old wound related to that kind of.
Yeah. How I like to see it is like abandonment issues is like the seed.
Yeah.
And then I'm working with the roots,
and then it rooted.
Working with a whole bunch of different things that stems from my abandonment issues. Mm-hmm. That I didn't think so.
Oh, so it's just one of the many branches.
No, it's like the core.
But you're working on the core or the branch or the root? Were you working on the seed or the...
Red is the root. Wait.
Well, yeah. I think that I had to work on... Because it's about my sense of worth, right? Mm-hmm. It's about holding value, seeing myself with value, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. That's connected with my abandonment issues. Mm-hmm. But it's a different type. Because I worked with my abandonment issues with my dad and and all this other shit. But I never, and now it's like, okay, well now how are you continuing to implement these abandonment issues in your life? How do you continue to
perpetuate
it? That part. And so then I was like, God damn, okay. Let's do it. Let's get it out of this body. And that was very, very prominent too. It's like, get it out of the body. Reprogram regulate your nervous system. Remember
we've been talking about that.
Regulate your fucking nervous system. And so then there I was, breathing through it. Literally, I was like that, and not because the water was fucking hot, but because my stomach.
I know. I walked
ass.
into the pools because there's caves. So we go to these places where they have little caves. And it wasn't that packed. It was really,
no, it was super chill.
So this one time I walked in, I think it was her and another lady were the only ones in the different pools, and I hear, and I was like, oh, that's not Yeli.
Yeah. And then like still a few days after, I was still breathing like that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's really good because that literally does help
regulates my nervous system 100%. And then how did we get to that? Oh yeah, so then I'm like, okay, my gut, my solar plexus. So I knew
your root?
my solar plexus.
Okay.
And my sacral chakra. And so I think more my solar plexus. I knew that it had to do with my self-worth. I knew it had to do with how I saw myself, but I didn't understand why it wasn't coming out of my body. And then when you were like telling me it was about my abandonment issues, that was like the missing puzzle piece that I needed, because it was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like this is taking me back all these years, but this time it's like I'm no longer blaming anybody.
Good.
I'm no longer looking at how they did it to me, but now it's how I show up for myself. Not even how I show up for myself in other relationships or other connections or whatever. How I show up for myself, period. And it was that.
And I think it was a really good test. I think it was a really good time to process because you had spent so much time with your dad these last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I think it was just stemming from all of that. That was really good. It was really good timing.
What do you mean? I don't get it.
Like that you guys that he was around way more, right? And you, like, I don't think he had been this much in your space, literally, for a long time. So it was, like, really testing all your work.
Yeah.
You know?
And we did great. Oh, like the hermit going back to the village.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. It was perfect. Now it was, so, like, we passed that one. Well, it wasn't perfect, but we did great. I'm very proud of myself. But now it was... Okay, look at how you've passed these tests, but now it's just you and you. And then look at Sobek. Sobek being the god of basically your shadow self.
Damn.
Just me and me.
Yeah, that's all that's left is you.
Look at it. Okay.
So Sobek is the Egyptian god who is like the crocodile deity. What I remember off the top of my head is that they were born into the none, in the nothingness, and then they are, so they're with creation, with birth and fertility. What else? Didn't remember.
He lives in the Nile. He's a guardian of the Nile. Comes from fresh water. Is one of the original creators.
I think it just all works so well together. It just all connects.
All the time. Everything. So yeah, that was me. That's Mercury Retrograde kicking my ass.
And then we're barely coming into your sign.
We were already in one. We were in my moon.
Oh, okay.
So now we're in my and in my 5th house, and now we're in my Virgo and my Pisces. So my sun, my rising. So more about my identity. So, but I think now it's just stepping into that, you know, stepping into the I am God.
I am.
And this time it's like I love Akwekwe and Emezi. Love them so much.
Freshwater.
They are an author that wrote Freshwater. They are the author that wrote Freshwater, and this other book called Dear Centaurin. Is that how you say Centaurin? That book is a memoir, or is it a?
It's more of.
I think it's a memoir.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I think that's my new favorite, honestly. And they wrote in that book, in that memoir, that they are no longer, one of the biggest things they had to learn was no longer caring what they thought about themselves. It's not about what it's not about what other people thought of them because they had already gone through that. It was more about what they thought about themselves. And when they reached that threshold of I don't give a fuck what I think about myself, they were free.
It's like all your programming and all the colonization and just everything.
Everything. And too, it's all the fear.
Damn.
You know? All the... But it's just the ones that you perpetuate to yourself because we live in the society that's always like, oh, they did this to me, they did that to me.
Poor me, victim mode, victim mentality constantly.
Yeah. And then like let's say you go into hermit mode, you realize, okay, I know who I am, I detach myself from all of them, you go back to the village. And it's fucking crazy, but it's because it's all you.
But then going back to that, it's just that's why it's so hard sometimes to get out of it because society is like, oh, poor you, stay in that victim. You know, look at what they're doing to you. So they don't really push the shadow work and the doing for yourself, right? They just want you. They like you in that cycle.
I think too, it's more like they don't push the be present. It's that part. Like, yeah, of course, they don't push the shadow work. Or even, too, when they push the shadow work, I saw this recently, it's like they tell you to continue to live in the past. You know? But it's like, be present.
Right. Because it's not good. You can't be living in the past. So that's where, like, depression. A lot of depression stems from because you're living in the past. Anxiety stems because you're living in the future. So you have to learn how to live in the present in this moment.
Because time isn't real.
It's not.
Time is not real.
And it's like when you realize that life is so short, time is short, time is precious, then it's like then you start realizing how all that little stuff, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. All that.
No, it holds
drama,
no value. And it's not real. And then, so in this book called, I was reading it a while ago, the seven laws of spirituality, the seven spiritual laws, I don't remember. They talk about how the past, so we have the present, right? And the past is just a collection of memories of the present. And the future is just expectations of the memories of the past. Like it's nothing, it's not real, it's nothing tangible but in this moment. So when you are living in those moments, when you're thinking about the past, you're thinking of the future, you're living in your mind. You're trapped, you're stuck.
Yeah.
And that's what society wants us to be, trapped and stuck,
In
not
fear.
moving, in fear. But it's time to be present, just to look and to feel and to breathe.
It's because what it comes back to is like, then we're just living in that matrix, right? Living in that cycle, living in that, and just being under that mind control that they want us to just be there, not awakened, not, not present, not knowing your true power, not knowing who you are.
Yeah. So allow Mercury retrograde to bring up whatever it's trying to bring up, and be patient with yourself and ask yourself questions. Because I felt it, like my stomach was hurting, and then I was like, okay, what's coming up?
What is happening?
Yeah.
What did I eat?
What's going on? Okay, I ate this, I ate that. But what's going on? I know this has to be more spiritual. I think after the whole cold sore thing, I'm like, okay, what is the spiritual meaning behind this? Please tell me. And then, so I figured out, I listened what I heard, but then there was still something missing. And I think too, there was just a part of me that was like in denial about the abandonment issues because of the part of like, well, I
I've done my work
with my dad, not seeing it with me, because there always reaches that moment. I always tell clients, and you told me, I remember one time I walked into your room, I think we've talked about this, and I told you, well, it's because you guys fucked me up, and you were like, you're grown. And I was like, you're like, you need to take responsibility. My therapist told me that too, and I was like, oh I have to take responsibility.
Like
I have to take accountability of my actions.
That's when you were being very rebellious and you were blaming me for everything, and I was like, hey, at one point you're gonna have to take accountability for your shit. And I was like,
yeah.
At one point you're gonna have to decide that you're gonna stop living in this craziness, and you still. When your therapist told you that, were you like?
Yeah, I was in shock, and I processed it for a while. and it's the very same thing that I tell my clients now. Like you don't need mothering anymore. I remember it was still around my dad specifically, and I was, just like bitching about him, like all these, like 2 years ago or whatever, or maybe a year ago. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, so it was actually like a year and 10 months ago that you were barely starting to process all this shit.
Yeah. Was it that time? Yeah, because then she told me, you don't need a dad anymore.
And you're like...
Like, you are grown. I know, I was like, whoa. Okay. like, damn.
Like, wow.
No words. It just really hit.
Who am I going to blame?
Nobody.
Damn,
Me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? That's always walked with me.
But I think that is really important and crucial because it's like, I've been my mom for so many years, right? For so many years. And it's just easy, like you said, it's easy to do that and it's easy to carry that. And it's easy to live with all that anger and resentment. But then once you go in and you're like, shit. Yeah, it's still, I understand. It's still hard sometimes, but it's a lot. That's crazy.
And that's us being Horus. Because we're living in our humanity. Holding on to the emotions. Allowing the emotions to dictate. Because it's easy to live in the emotions.
Oh, yeah.
To be consumed by the emotions.
And just be like, I feel. But then like actually processing those I feels, right? Because I think it's really different to be like, okay, I feel this. And like you said, living in those emotions.
Is it I feel this? Let me ask you a question. If you were standing in the middle of the road and you turn around and you see a car driving full speed towards you, how would you feel?
Scared.
Lola?
Can you say that again?
You're in the middle of the road and you turn around and there's a car driving full speed towards you. How would you feel?
Scared?
Okay. We're really good. Because I was watching this woman talk about it, and then she goes, if you said that you felt scared, then you understand what it's like to process your emotions and to articulate them, whatever.
Oh.
But people tend to be like, I'd run.
Oh.
And that's intellectualizing them or being like, here's the solution.
Yeah.
But not feeling it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, then when you see, okay, so that's really good that we can feel and process. That's the important part. Because if you just are always saying stuck in just feeling but not processing or intellectualizing it, then you're not going anywhere with it.
And for the longest time, it's like, okay, I think in high school or even when I was gone that year, and you chime into when we wouldn't feel our emotions, what would we do? Like, what did that look like?
Like during that time, because I was going through like my divorce and stuff, I wasn't feeling, so I was just like sleeping. I was literally really depressed. I would just work, sleep, and I was numb. But then also before, we've been talking about this, how before I had been maybe a couple years just being numb. I wasn't feeling anything. So for me, I was just really used to being numb, not feeling anything. Not feeling anything.
Yeah.
So I think that as I was going through my depression, I started feeling stuff, and I think it was just a lot of stuff coming up. And so I think it was just easier for me to process by just sleeping and going to work like a robot.
Yeah, like finding things to keep you busy.
No, not even, because I couldn't do it. I wasn't
like
functioning.
work.
Yeah, but I wasn't, like, I was working, but...
You weren't there?
But I wasn't there. Yeah. Because I couldn't think. Yeah. I was too... It was just everything. My whole world was collapsing, so I just couldn't... I couldn't think. I couldn't use that part of my brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, you don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if I do. Like, I guess I see what you're saying, but then even then, it's like, I don't know if I've...
No, because it just... Yeah. It just so... For a couple of months... Well, maybe it wasn't too long. But there was at least a couple of weeks where it was just like... Just get up, go to work, I don't know what I would do at work. Come home, sleep, then go. Like, yeah, I see you guys buy groceries. I would do all that, but it was still like just robot.
Mm-hmm. And like, what would you think about?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Well, I was depressed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about anything.
Because I remember I would think about like just how unhappy I was.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, all day.
But see, if I allowed myself to know how to feel how unhappy I was, it would be worse. So like during the divorce, then I was processing all the divorce stuff. Okay, so during the divorce, it sucked because I was going to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So that I had to feel all that stuff. So it was really, really hard. But it wasn't, because it was hard because I didn't start going, because I was already depressed and going through hell before. But then I think there was finally like a couple months before I filed for divorce. That's when I started going to therapy regularly. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of switched. So that's when I started processing. Mm-hmm. So that's where the thinking started coming in, and the writing and the crying and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But then before that, I was just numb. I just wouldn't feel, wouldn't think.
I don't know. I think.
So you would just feel sad.
I think you. Well, yeah, because I don't know what you went through.
You would feel that
but I
you
would
were unhappy.
feel the unhappiness.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could sense it.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to articulate it.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to admit it. So I always felt like I was running from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always felt like whatever I did, I used to distract myself. So watch TV.
Oh, okay.
When I was talking to people, I would hyperfixate on whatever the fuck we were talking about. I guess you can call it, being present. But even then, it was more just to distract myself from what I was feeling. Mm-hmm. Hyperfixate on the people around me so that I wouldn't have to deal with my problems.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So
I
like
get
even
it.
to like the gossiping, or they tell me everything about your life so that I can feel better about mine. Mm-hmm. Or so that I don't have to think about mine. You know what I mean? But I don't think that I was numb. I think when I was high, I would be numb because then I wouldn't feel that. I don't even think I would feel anything when I was high. No, because then I would just watch TV and zone the fuck out. You know what I mean? But then I started journaling. And that shit
And that's when
was like insane, because then I started, okay, I have to fill up these pages. And when it became, and then it's like, okay, I used to fill up those pages with like ideas of what I wanted to cultivate and create, but then it was like, okay, well, what are you going to create? Well, my experience. Okay, so then like what? So then I had to talk about my experience in my journals. And then I was like, whoa, I'm articulating all these feelings that I have suppressed for so long.
Oh, damn.
It was insane. Journaling was...
And when you would reread it, you'd be like...
Oh, shit. No, I wouldn't.
You would like,
I wouldn't reread it, no. But now it was like, okay, now I'm seeing
That's
things.
how you started processing.
Yeah. Or now I started... Well, I don't think processing. But I think just like, okay... You're writing about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Do you not see anything wrong with it? And then I started like having those conversations with my ancestors through my journaling too. Because I would write something and then I would hear, oh, it's because of this. And then I would write that. And it's so funny because I would write, I feel great. And then I would add like a little arrow or indent. And then it would like, as you should, or some shit like that. But it was like me and my ancestors. And in that moment, I wasn't like, oh, those are my ancestors. I thought that was just like a sub-thought or something. But yeah, that's how it started cultivating that relationship with them through engaging with myself. That's how I started waking up. That's how I started feeling. But yeah. So damn, you were just numb with no weed.
Or alcohol.
That's insane.
So I think, okay, so... I guess the divorce, that's when I started waking up. Maybe even a little bit before. So then there was a point, so I was back in my marriage and I knew I had made the biggest mistake of my life. But then I was like, you know what? I'm in it. I have 3 little kids. Whatever. I have to get through it. So at that point I just shut it off. I was just numb. And so I wouldn't...
And then
I wouldn't
actually, sorry to interrupt you, but everything that you're saying, connecting it back to the conversation that we were having about the generational trauma, about how in our family or in your side of the family, the generational trauma is of staying.
Oh yeah, nobody says anything.
So then that's why you can do it.
Yeah. And the not saying anything, and that's what I saw. Like that was the
But wouldn't you feel like, ugh?
No, because I wouldn't even feel it. I wouldn't allow myself to feel it. Because I was like, okay, I chose this, and my dad would tell me, it's your cross, you have to carry it. Like whenever I would try to talk to them, it's your cross, you have to carry it.
And the projection too.
Oh my god! And then hell was like, it's a really heavy cross, I don't want to carry it. Well, you picked it. I'm like, god damn. So then at that point I was like, okay, I have 3 kids, I'm gonna have to deal with it. I mean, there's nothing else. So I didn't even allow myself to feel that, because at that point I felt I had no other option. So I just kept going.
But for a second, a little bit, and then you're like, no.
No.
Because I just remember like when I would have to see you, or when I would have to talk about what I did, or I don't know, like when I was living in the car and we went to visit Dora and she would ask questions. Like I just remember always feeling like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I would suppress it, but I always knew I was doing something wrong, or I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing.
Okay, so I knew. So I knew. Like I think I talked about this. I knew deep down inside that I shouldn't be there, right? And this wasn't my life. Like this isn't everything. Like I knew it, but I didn't know how the hell I was gonna get out of that mess. I was like, I had chances and chances and chances to leave, and I was out of it. But then I went back in. So then I was like, and pretty much everybody was like, my mom, everybody just, you're stuck with it. You're screwed. You fucked up. So then I was like, okay.
That's so horrible to hear. No support.
No, none.
No support.
None. So then I was like, okay, yeah, like I felt it deep down inside, but then I was like, it is what it is, right? So I didn't get to that because I couldn't.
I'm in shock.
We talk about this.
I guess, but not to this extent, or not this perspective, or just, I guess I never knew that. Because I don't know what's different. Because that's what got me out was you guys.
So see,
everybody
so that's
in
why
my life.
I knew. I was like, damn it, we're gonna have to do. I have to do what I wish I would have wanted, right? What I wanted and what I needed, but then I didn't know how to do it. So,
you did great.
Thank you.
You did one
and
hell of a
I
job.
rallied up the parents and everybody. I was like,
yeah.
Fuck. I was like, you didn't do it for me. You didn't do it for her.
Yeah. And they did. They showed the fuck up.
Yeah.
Even though I remember I had a conversation with my grandma, and I don't care if it was because I was gay, but it was still a conversation about like, this is not healthy.
Yeah. You
need to leave. You are very vulnerable right now. You are being taken advantage of. You need to leave. And I was like, no. But still, you never had that.
Never. Never, because it would be like, well, no, it's because just that last time that I left him, you guys, the girls were 2, 3, and you were like 10.
Yeah, I think so.
And then it was just hell. Like she would call social services on me. She disowned me. Like we wouldn't talk. Like she didn't help me with you guys ever. Like there was no support in the sense of, oh, what do you need? Do you need groceries? Do you need? And at that point, like your dad wasn't paying child support either.
Leave him.
Yeah, nothing.
That part. It's that part.
No, she would help him. Like so, then I was obviously the bad guy. And so then she would like pick you guys up and take you guys to him. He would go have dinner there. So she was supporting him and not me.
Which is also just so confusing with all your emotions.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like you know you shouldn't be there, but then everyone around you is like, okay, well, you have to. And then it's like, well, and then especially you being the oldest, especially you always doing so much for them.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
yeah.
Wow, I cannot believe that. Because if I would have had that, I would have been in it for as long as you were.
Oh, yeah.
Probably just, redone the same thing.
And so then one of my big things, I think that... So then when I started therapy in December, before I filed for divorce, you were still good. And then in August is when shit hit the fan with you, because that's when your grandpa died and all that stuff. So I had already gone through 8 months of therapy. So at that point,
and I was not going to therapy.
You quit. You started and then you quit.
Why did I quit?
You were being a brat. Because then everybody started in January, right? I started all of you guys in January, February. No, I think right after the divorce.
I started in like May.
So right after the divorce, I put everybody in therapy. Oh yes, we probably started till May. So you probably went a little bit, and then you started talking to he who shall not be named, and then you stopped. As soon as you started talking to them, you stopped.
Yeah, I stopped showing up, and I was just smoking a lot.
Oh, I know.
Before even they showed up.
Yeah.
And it was more with them too. Yeah. Well, because you guys were going through a divorce.
Yeah.
That was my trauma.
So I think
a little bit of my trauma.
So I think for me, when my spiritual awakening started, like when he left, that's when I started waking up, which was in October 2017. That's when I started waking up.
Right. We've talked about because you had no other option.
So then I was like, damn. So I started waking up, and then, so yes, I was really, really depressed, but then I was already in therapy. But I was feeling everything and I couldn't handle it. I could not handle feeling all that.
Well, of course not. What the fuck? Of course not.
It was hell. But then, so I think the hardest was December through, well, no, it was hell. Maybe like August through March. Don't remember December. So it was hell. And then, but then I started therapy in December. And I think by May, I was doing a lot better.
Damn.
By May. So then I filed for divorce in March. And that already helped me a lot. Just that was really liberating. That was good. But then I was good, I think, by May. Like, finally, okay. And so then, and I had to be, because in order for me to deal with you, oh my God, I had to be.
Because it was still another year of that. A year and a few.
So then so you started your stuff in like September.
No.
I started having problems with you in September.
No, you started having problems with me in like July?
Yeah. So I started having those problems with you, and it wasn't too bad. But then it's like, but in therapy, thank God for therapy. So that's when she was like, okay. And then it wasn't even, for me, it was so hard because, so my divorce wasn't final. I was still going through divorce. I was dealing with work. I was dealing with all this stuff. And then you you pitted these two against me. So, that was what I was like, God. But therapy really, really helped me. So I was able to put my boundaries with you, which I had never put boundaries with you. No. And I think that was even harder than anything through the divorce. Like, just putting boundaries with you. Oh, my God. Yeah. Like, just putting my foot down. Oh, you don't know cuánto me costó to be like, this is my house, my rules. If you don't like it, leave. That was, like, the hardest thing for me to do. You don't even understand. It was, like, the hardest thing for me to do.
Damn.
Yeah.
You've talked about this. Yeah. And this is coming up again.
Yeah. And you're like,
what?
Okay.
Yeah, I said I unpack my bags.
Yeah, but then it had to happen.
It had to
happen. But it was really, I think for me, just learning how to parent, because I didn't know how to parent. Going through all my mother wounds and daddy wounds, and then because it was just so much. So I just had one thing after another, but all of it, I feel like I'm glad everything happened the way it happened, because it was just like you know how they say that baptism in fire, when everything just happens at once and you have to deal with it.
It was a tower moment.
Oh my God. Like 3, 4, right after the other. So for realsies, I had moments where I was like, I felt psychotic, right? I'm gonna fucking lose my goddamn mind. But I had Lola and Sophie at home, and they were still, and I was like, you know what? I can't.
They were really little.
I can't, yeah. So you guys kept me alive and sane, and oof, yeah.
That's crazy. I would have gone psycho.
You're huge.
I would have gone insane if my oldest daughter pitted my children against me.
It was. So then I would have picked my battles. That's how, at one point I'd be like, fine, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Like, I had to pick my battles. But yeah.
Yeah, you were really good. Because the only reason I knew that like you were like struggling with Lally was because Lally would tell me.
Oh. That's
Damn.
good. Though that was good though. And see, so that was part of parenting that I learned. Oh, you don't tell your kids, oh, you're, And before, because then with Lali, I was like, oh, Lali, this is happening. Oh, Lali, this is happening. Oh, this. And so then I learned how, because then I grew up with my mom who would triangulate all the time and constantly have all these, create all these issues with the siblings and stuff. So that's what I started doing. And then at one point I was like, no, we need to create.
And when you stopped, I started doing it.
Yeah. Oh,
well, I don't think I started. I think I always did it.
Yeah.
But it was just more obvious.
It was just more obvious because I stopped. Yeah. And so then we would have.
And then you'd tell me, and I'd be like, I'm not fucking triangulating. What the fuck? No.
It was just, I just didn't want to pit all you guys against I wanted you guys to be still strong. If it's okay if I was the odd man out.
Hold on. We have the podcast with Sophie. And we were talking about this, which is really interesting. I think this is something that we still need to process, I guess.
I think as we talk about it, we finish whatever. Because I can talk about it, I don't cry, I don't get emotional.
Now, last time you did cry with Sophie,
that's
I got a little tense. This time I'm not less.
You're less
tense.
You're a little tense, but not too bad.
A little bit.
And I think you just feel guilty, but don't.
Oh,
I mean, shit happens.
No, right now, I think I've moved past the guilt. Now I'm just staring straight into the face of that Nayeli, and I'm like,
God damn, you crazy psycho.
Wow.
You poor little
Are
hurt
you
child.
Okay, Like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, that little Nayeli.
Wow.
Oh my God, you guys, I don't think I've told you guys this story.
Wait, hold on, pause. Let me tell you about the Sophie part. And then she goes, what were we talking about? That she was like, do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay, so we were talking about, because I want to tell you the whole story, how she wouldn't tell you things.
Oh,
right?
Oh my God,
right.
That one was like, yeah.
Okay, hold on. And then she's like, yeah, I still, you guys are my sisters. I still wouldn't say anything, but I don't want to lie to mom. But I don't want to lie to mom.
I saw it.
It's so funny.
I love my mom, but I wouldn't lie to her.
It was so funny. And right when she said that, I would still do that. Me and Lola were like, bitch, please. And then right away, but I wouldn't want to lie to her.
But I think we're really, really good where we don't do that. We
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
We don't put each other like. Don't tell your sister. Don't tell Lali.
yeah.
Don't tell Lola.
Yeah.
I try really hard. Maybe sometimes I forget and I can fuck up. But you guys can tell me. Do I do good?
About what?
About not triangulating and
Oh yeah, no, we don't triangulate.
Yeah.
There's
really, really
no
good.
drama between us. If I'm pissed off with
know.
Aurora or something, I'll bitch at you, and then I'll come back and be like, Lola, this is how I feel.
Perfect. And then what I do, I don't know if you've noticed, well, you need to go back and talk to her and explain this and this to her and blah blah. So I always
I don't
send
know.
you back.
Maybe in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or I just listen. I
And
don't say
well,
shit.
I haven't had an issue with you.
No, it was just at first, like when you were like going through your teenage.
Like teen.
Cause I'm just a teen.
But when you were acting like Sophie's acting with you.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about it? Yeah. And then that's when it happened.
Yeah.
But when Dad was here, I had a little moment, and then we talked about it, huh?
With Lola? Or
Yeah.
you did
With Lola. I was frustrated because she wouldn't open the blinds in the morning. And I told her like 4 fucking times. And what pissed me off too was like she came, like you know how she doesn't like confrontation?
Yeah.
So she came in all weird.
Oh.
And so then I also was being weird.
Oh.
And so
I get that
it
weird
was-
feeling.
Yeah. And then she was just like, when I told her about it, she's like, well, you only told me once. I was like, oh, I want to sock you in the face because I told you like 4 times. But then we talked about it.
Oh, good.
It was fine.
No, I hate that awkwardness. I'm like, what? What's going on? Just
Yeah. Shut the fuck up because you are a big contributor of the awkwardness.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes!
At all.
I'm
No!
Like, if you have a
Not with
problem,
us at
you,
least.
like whisper about it. Like you won't talk about it though. Like you'll tell anyone but the person you have a problem with.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good.
No, honey.
Oh, that I tell everybody but the
Communication.
person.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Like,
see,
if
that's
I
bad. I
have a problem
triangulate
with
that.
Lali, you will talk about it to me or to Sophie.
Okay, well, I haven't done that lately though, have I?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I'm like,
I don't know. Because, well, we haven't had, like,
yeah.
issues or
Yeah.
anything.
Okay, I'll watch myself with that.
Well, today, yeah. When I was like, Mom, that was mad disrespectful. And you're like, but this, Mom.
Okay, sorry.
But it's because you, this.
She was like, I know you before. Luna, I know you before, right?
That was disrespectful.
We set a time, guys, and I got home because I finished yoga, and I was like, you know what? Let me shower real quick. Lali's not home. Lali got home like 5 minutes after I got home.
And I was hauling ass.
Nayeli was so mad.
I wasn't so mad. I was just like,
And then I'm like,
that's so rude.
but. Yeah, so I have to apologize.
That was just a good little moment, but we haven't had that in a minute. So, okay.
Damn.
Anyways, yeah, but I don't think you triangulate.
No, I try really hard not to because I hate it.
Freaking hate it. Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, I used to. Hell yeah.
But you were little too.
Yeah, and I don't think I do anymore.
No.
I have
No,
a
we know.
problem.
You just come up.
I'm breathing fire. No, I've been really good at
No, it's
not
just, you were just yelling
allowing
at Lola
my-
today. I don't know.
Today?
So, well, you were calling for Lola.
Oh yeah, I was
I was
calling
like, what
you.
if she was
Did you hear
taking a
me?
nap?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, past the
Good.
nap.
I was like,
It's because
she's taking a nap.
It's because, but it wasn't yelling like angry or anything. It was yelling like because I needed a witness. Because Sophie was doing math. We were doing a math competition thing.
Oh my
Anyways.
God. You can't do business with Sophie. You know that.
We're not doing business. We
Oh,
were
okay.
doing like a race, and
Okay.
Cheater.
she.
And you can't do business with her. You need a third person or you need a contract.
I
That
never
one?
do business with that bitch. I know you're the one that needs to hear that because you are constantly,
I
you
don't
are constantly doing business.
I don't
with
do
her.
business with her anymore. I'm like, here, just take it.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so the story I was gonna tell you guys. Oh my God. So during that time, like right when Nayeli left, I was trying really hard to be normal, right? We were trying really hard to. Nayeli left, and we were like, I was just trying to keep everything. I was trying to normalize everything, and so I was like making all happy. I was cooking in chilaquiles because the Aurora loves chilaquiles. I was making chilaquiles, and then I got the and I make the sauce. So I got the chili bread out of like boiling, and I put it into the NutriBullet and spin it. And then I don't know what happened. I was really mad because some stuff had just happened around Nayeli. Just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and I opened the NutriBullet, and the enchilada, the chile, the enchilada sauce exploded all over the kitchen, exploded all over my arm, and like I got like 3rd-degree burn, like right, like it.
Because
you
was it
can't
hot?
tell. It was boiling. So I was like, so all this, my skin like melted off and it was raw, but I healed myself. You can't really tell.
Damn.
But
And then too, you had the other one, the one that you burned, or was that the same one?
it was the same one, but this one I didn't heal. Like I put like the salves I put on this
I
one.
think you forgot about this one.
Yeah.
Because this one was bad.
It was bad. So the good thing is I was like reeling about Nayeli, but this thing like preoccupied me.
Damn, that's intense.
I know.
That's like scary.
It was bad.
It was scary.
And then we got a freaking enchilada. We got chile everywhere. Chile colorado everywhere.
Yeah.
And that shit stained.
Yeah. It took weeks. We would still find it weeks after now.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that shit's coming up, Mercury Retrograde. I left around this time. I came back around this time.
No, you left in January.
You left in August.
I left in December. Everyone has a whole
No,
different
yeah.
thing.
Well, I say you left in August because that's when they came.
Oh.
Oh,
You lost your soul. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I guess. I laid in my deathbed in August.
No, it wasn't your deathbed. It was.
I mean, that version of myself, damn, she's insane, bro.
You went through temporary insanity in August. And you came out by September.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. Mine was 20 years. 28
Yeah.
years. So that's why it was so
That-
hard. And that's why I learned how to disassociate, which is really bad. I learned how to shut everything.
Disassociating. Well, I think that's what I did hardcore is disassociating.
Yeah, I'm totally disassociated. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you even tell me you knew I wasn't present.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know now, and I think to a certain extent I may have known back then,
But like I was there, like I cooked, I cleaned, I did everything.
you were physically there.
I was physically there.
Not until I went to therapy was like, oh, wow, I didn't have a mom emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
That one was insane to me. Because I didn't know.
Right.
I thought I only had daddy issues, but no, I have all of it. Even grandma issues.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yay!
You know, make you very resilient.
Yeah. Okay, that is not us romanticizing trauma.
No, sorry guys, sorry.
No, but it does give me the ability to understand. Hell yeah. It does give me the ability to understand what a lot of my clients go through.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because it's like, me too.
Been there, done that.
Me too.
Been there, done that.
So, Mercury Retrograde is bringing all of this up. Not necessarily, maybe for us to, it's always good for us to talk about it, like you said, but also because so many of our clients, the people who are on live, are leaving these toxic ass environments.
So it's really good so people can see, like, you know, that we can get out, we can get better.
And be so patient with yourself, because this is healing is hard.
It's hard. It takes a long time.
Yes.
It's not like you wake up one day, oh my god, I'm miraculously healed. No.
Yeah, no, I wish.
You tortured yourself and your body and your spirit and everything for 20 years. You're not going to be good in 1 year. You know? It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. So
for
be
me,
patient with yourself.
It's been like 5 years now, and I think I'm finally feeling good.
Light.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Present. Bliss.
Damn, I wasn't planning on being vulnerable today.
We always are. That is like our whole thing. I didn't know that we were this vulnerable and we talked about it on live, but until people refused to be on the podcast because it was too vulnerable, I was like,
damn.
Whatever.
It's okay. Sometimes, usually after, I'm like, oh, I feel so exposed. But then I realize, this is my story and I have to tell it because there's so many people in that same situation.
Yeah.
And if one person can learn from it, or if one person can get some, some support, they can see that they can get out, then go for it.
Exactly. And then we talked about it, how you didn't get any. It took you years. That's all that I needed to get out. I mean, I honestly, with my family, every single one of them telling me, No, and it was great because, like, me and your dad at that point were like, oh, hell no, don't even look at me. But we still rallied together to get you. And your siblings
and I wasn't talking to my parents.
And they did too. They showed up for me. Yeah, Everyone showed up for me. So
it's so beautiful.
It is really, really beautiful.
And if you don't have that, find your tribe.
You
can do it.
Yeah, and this is a support. This is your tribe right here. This podcast, our lives, our community. On live, the sense of community is absolutely beautiful. So you should, if you're not on live,
check it out.
Go. Yeah.
Well, if you guys have questions, if you want more support, reach out to us. You know how to get a hold of us. And I think we're good, right?
Yeah, and tell us what you need.
Yes, tell us what you need. Ask us if you have questions. Ask questions.
But don't just say, hey. No, come on. Communication.
We can't. I am very literal, so if you say hey, I'm just going to say hey back. That's it.
Yeah, just tell me what's going on. Don't even worry about it.
Lucy amor.
Well, yes, this was the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being vulnerable. Again, just be patient with yourself. Have faith. Be present. Choose yourself. Work on yourself. Yeah. Happy Mercury Retrograde. We're at halfsies.
Happy Mercury and microwave.
Bye. Bye.